Hey, what's up everybody? It's Ryan Miller checking in with GST's YQMA, episode number 10 today on a Saturday. Today's episode should be a little bit lengthy just because I'm probably not going to hit a Sunday episode, and we've also got a great topic today that could span a little bit of extra time. So it's a little bit of a double feature, and of course we're continuing our trend on bulking, building, and off-season gains, and we're continuing that trend with a question from a guy named Mark Smith. Mark is a current client of mine who has just a supreme work ethic. He's really one of those guys that you don't find that often. Some people have great work ethic, some people have just ridiculous work ethic. Mark Smith has just got more work ethic than 99% of the people I know, and I'm just super impressed with him as a client. He's got a show coming up in December, and we plan to bring him in as lean, hopefully leaner than he's ever been in his entire life, and he's going to be hitting physique, and I personally really hope he does great up on the stage. Now, Mark is one of those guys, just like the rest of us, anybody who's into bodybuilding and trying to get as big as possible. It seems like no matter how big we get, we always want to be bigger. There's always going to be somebody that you see that makes you feel small, and a lot of times, to be honest, a lot of times you look at yourself in the mirror, or you catch a glance of yourself in the mirror, you see yourself in a picture or something like that, and sometimes you even wonder if you even work out. I think that happens to even the biggest guys, and so you can really tell that it's basically an illusion. Mark, I believe, called it bigorexia, where you're never going to be big enough. You're always going to feel like, do I even lift when I look in the mirror? And it's just something that comes with the territory, and I think it's one of the reasons that people like Mark and people like myself and other guys that want to be real big, we don't stop. We always want to be bigger. We're always going to work harder for it, and in that way, it's a positive. Now, Mark really wanted to know about the length of time it takes for a person to get real big and real lean. So basically this question boils down to, from a beginner standpoint or a beginner starting point, how long does it take to really get to that point where people look at you and it's like, oh yeah, that guy clearly lifts and he's clearly lean. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing. We want to be like this guy. So you have to start somewhere. Now, what I like to start with is I have the experience and the research, the knowledge to really know what ideal muscle rates are, and I'm going to always be very realistic with you guys. And so when we talk about this timeline, just know that I'm being realistic, and I may even be a little bit conservative. I think that's just my nature is to be a little bit conservative. I'm usually not a big exaggerator, and I don't lie to people. I tell people what to really expect in terms of muscle gain and in terms of fat loss per period of time. So let's just say that we're talking about a complete beginner here. Say this guy weighs 150 pounds. He's just starting up. He's around 20 years old. Now I should also preface this. This is assuming that this guy knows how to eat. He's being mentored and coached by somebody that cares for him and knows what to do. Okay, now this guy knows how to eat and he knows how to train. Let's just say in reality he's able to put on 1.5 pounds of muscle per month throughout the first year. Now right away we're looking at a total of 18 pounds of muscle, and we can just round up to 20. We're going to be fine doing that. It's his first year of training, and he's doing it properly in the gym and the kitchen, so he's really going to be hopefully gaining at that optimal rate. And it's realistic, he might hit a nice 20 pounds of lean mass gained in that first year. Now, 20 pounds of lean mass is definitely going to help him, assuming that he also put some fat on with that. Let's say he put 10 pounds of fat on with that over the course of that first year. He's gained 30 pounds. Now, he was 150, now he's 180, 10 pounds of fat heavier, and 20 pounds of muscle heavier. Obviously, he is going to be looking different to most people. He could come back after college after a year and people would say, oh man, like, you're getting big. What are you doing? let's do this. You know, I want to do the same thing. But clearly 20 pounds of muscle is not enough to really create somebody that, wow, like this guy really knows what he's doing. This guy's huge, okay? That's not 20 pounds of muscle. To get there, we're looking at more like 40 pounds of muscle, okay? So we're halfway there. It's 1 year. Let's say now his rate slows down, because that is gonna happen. Let's say his rate slows down to 1 pound of muscle per month, which I believe is still very realistic in a second year of serious training. Now he's added another 12 pounds of muscle over his second year of focused training, and he's up to 32 pounds of muscle total, okay? Now, let's say he also gained another 10 pounds of fat that year, because again, I mean, it is realistic. If he's focused on building, he's going to be in a constant surplus, and you know, a pound of fat a month along with a pound of muscle is completely realistic. It's actually probably a little bit on the low side, but we're just going to say it's a 1-to-1 ratio for that second year. Okay, so we're looking at another 24 pounds. Now he's actually up to 204 pounds. Okay, he was 150, and then in 2 years' time, he's added 32 pounds of muscle, and we'll also say that he's added 22 pounds of fat. Okay, and that brings him up to that 204 pound mark. Clearly, he's definitely a bigger person. He's a lot stronger. He's carrying a lot more lean mass. He's carrying about 20 pounds of extra fat right now, more fat than he was before. So he's sitting at roughly, let's say 15 to 20% body fat. Keep in mind, this guy's been bulking for 2 years, so his body fat is going to be up in the higher range for my preference. You know, I don't really like people to get over 20 when they're doing a very serious bulk. A lot of people don't even prefer to get over 15, but really getting in that 15 to 20% range is something I'm not afraid of at all. I was there during my biggest growth years. You can be there too. That it's really not that obese. It's not like you're obese. It's not like you're sitting there unable to see any definition at all. Now we're inching up towards that 40 pound of lean mass gain, and it's going to probably take another year to do that. So now we're going to look at another year. Let's say he's gaining a little under a pound of lean mass per month. After all, this is his third year of serious training. Gains do slow per period of time, and that's what's going to happen to this guy. Okay, now let's say he's in just under a pound of lean mass per month, and so let's say that's going to add another 10 pounds to him. Okay, 10 pounds to his total lean mass gain so far, and that should be 42 pounds so far of lean mass gain 3 years in. Okay, and let's also say that he's added another 10 pounds of fat. That's going to be just a standard. Obviously, that's going to vary based on his calorie surplus degree and the person that's coaching him. But let's just say for the sake of this video that he's added another 10. So he added 20 pounds. He went from 155 to 224 in a 3-year time period. So now he is large. I mean, when you're a 225 pound natural guy, that's a big guy, okay? And a lot of people, when they're in their prime off season and then they diet down, what they do is they end up losing 20 to 30 pounds, if not more, okay? So he's actually, all that fat that he's gained, I believe I said that he gained around 32 pounds of fat total over the last 3 years. And that's just accumulated over time. That's 36 months of straight building. Fat accumulates, but it accumulates with muscle gain. So he's got roughly 32 pounds of fat to lose, and I'm just pointing that out because that's realistic. When you take a prime off-season competitor and you move them into a contest prep, it's not unheard of for them to lose 30 pounds. That's totally normal, even more, especially for a bigger guy that's weighing 225 pounds. It's just the reality of it. That's why contest preps take longer. You know, proper preps are at least 20 weeks, 20 weeks, 24 weeks, 26 weeks, if not longer. And that just illustrates the fact that you may think that he gained a lot of fat but actually he was doing it right. He was taking his time, and in total, he's looking at 32 pounds, about 70 pounds over 36 months total. And what that breaks down to is about 2 pounds per month, or half a pound per week. And so you can see that he was actually doing a very nice job. If you remember, in my previous YQMA, I recommended that a male gain around 2 to 3 pounds per month during the off season. So that's a very conservative weight gaining scheme or weight gaining plan for somebody that is really trying to start low at a beginning point, just a straight newbie, and blow up, get huge, gain some fat in the process because you have to, and then shred down. Now, the only thing that I haven't touched on is the time frame of the shred. Now, for him, I would seriously recommend just a slow cut that's going to help build muscle mass through that cut as long as possible, and then he's going to spend some time in that phase where he's not gaining muscle. He's just shredding and shredding and shredding, and then he's going to go through those final weeks where it's very tough and he's getting to those very low levels of leanness, 5 to 8% body fat. Now, something like that, let's just say that he's going to take another 8 months to shed that off, okay? It's probably 34, 36 weeks to shed off. He could shed off 30 to 40 pounds, and that would be normal. And there'd be nothing wrong with that. So we add that, it's almost another year. So basically you have a 3-year, 8-month to 4-year process where a person has completely changed the way they look, completely changed the way they feel mentally and physically. And yeah, I mean, that really breaks down a year-by-year process from going to a complete beginner. We were all complete beginners at one point, and to somebody with a nice amount of training experience. I mean, he's nearly 4 years in. You can learn and do a lot of things in 4 years' time in the gym. And he might not have been, the leanest guy for that second and third year, but those are years that are behind him now, and he focused on gaining when he should have been, which is early. He didn't want to do a show within a year. He didn't want to do a show within 2 years or even 3 years. Now he's looking at a 4-year process, really did it right, and now he can actually do damage on the stage. And he can also rely on the muscle that he's gained in those first 3 years of training. That base foundation is going to carry him for years to come. Now he can just focus on a few pounds here of muscle, a few pounds there, and as he trains more and more and more, those little smaller muscle gains really show visually, and they really just perfect his physique. That is what you need to do when you're a beginner. You need to focus on growth and building, and if that's your goal, you should not be thinking about competing or getting shredded, okay? That's like taking a left turn when your destination is all rights. That's not the path to getting to where you want to be. Now, I'm speaking directly to anybody that is very young in the gym, in their first couple of years or just starting out. Maybe they haven't even stepped in the gym yet. But you need to know the proper process. You don't look at a guy that's huge and say, I'm going to train for a little bit, I'm going to compete, and that's going to be me. If you do that, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be so disappointed, and you may not even continue training. So just do it right from the start. You have a resource. I'll be your resource. I'll be your mentor. I'll be your coach. There's a lot of other people that will also do the same thing. Just find somebody with passion and get on that right path right away from the start, and you'll be your happiest you're ever going to be. Okay, Mark, I think I pretty much laid the smackdown on that question for you, brought you a detailed answer, and it's an answer that you can rely on. I think that there's a lot of people that in this fitness industry that like to promise big results in a unrealistic time frame. I am not going to be that person for you, and I'm not going to be that person for anybody that comes to me, because I believe in maintaining a reputation. If I told somebody that they could totally transform their body, get huge and get lean in the next year, that would never happen. And my reputation would be in the garbage real quick, because I'd have a lot of people disappointed. So I like to keep it real, and I think that's very important. And I wanted to do that today for you and for anybody else that's a beginner just coming into this. You need to know what to expect, because if you don't know what to expect in terms of the proper time frame for really getting to where you want to be, to look like that guy in the magazine, you are going to be disappointed year after year, because what you're going to do is you're going to build up for a little bit, and then you're going to think you have to cut. And every single time you're going to end up looking right around the same, and it's not where you want to be. So put the time in, get your growth that you need, and then worry about cutting, okay? On a side note, have you guys seen GNC's new protein slogan? It's protein. Everybody needs protein every day. I thought that was funny, because you could use that for basically any product. Not any product, but there's millions of products that you could use that for. You know, for example, everybody needs TP every day. Or, you know, water. Everybody needs water every day. I just think that GNC probably could have came up with something a little bit different. I get what they're saying, but I ain't buying it, GNC. To all my GSTers out there, have a great Saturday night. I want you guys to go out, hang out, be irresponsible, and, you know, get into a little bit of trouble. That never hurts anybody. I spent the majority of my growth years during college, and clearly you can go out and have fun and grow. Don't hold yourself back in any aspect of life just because of the gym. I mean, just don't do it. Train hard, eat real well 90% of the time, and then have tons of fun in the process. I probably won't see you guys tomorrow. I'm not going to do a video on Sunday, but I promise I'll check back in on Monday, and we'll get into a different subject. I spent the last week talking about bulking, building, and off-season gains, and we need to switch it up a little bit. We'll talk about some exercise form probably, and just exercise tips, and we'll see where it leads. So have a great Saturday night. As I said, I will see you guys Monday.